Hello.
Hi,
Welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Woman Playbook. I'm your host, Tara.
and I'm Jess.
And you guys, we have such an incredible topic that so many people need to hear because if you are in business and you mentor people, this will happen at some point in time. Sometimes I feel like it's it's like a gateway to get to your next level. I swear it really is. But before we get started on that, just want to give a few announcements. Shout out to all of our affiliates that are absolutely crushing it and Playbook to Millions, which is our affiliate course that we created to bridge the gap of people to help them with marketing, sales, content, branding. It's a course that is, they're going to stay the same exact price forever and ever and ever. We're going to be constantly adding new content because things in social media constantly are changing, shifting, things like that. So you can purchase this course to, just get better at marketing, sales, content, all of that in the current business that you are in. And if you decided that you wanted to, create another stream of income, we have an entire section on how to become an affiliate, how to market the course. And if you just want to create an extra stream of income, you don't have a business yet, but you just enjoy listening to us because of maybe you found us through our last series of how to become the it girl and you would love to become a boss babe and run up a bag, you can also create a stream of income. We will go ahead and put the link down below in the show comments. Also, on the daily is still on fire. The last three have been absolutely amazing. I sent mine on Friday at midnight because I was at my son's tournament, and it was so funny because the lady in the lobby, she was cleaning up and she was like listening to me because you know me, I'm a pacer. So I was
Oh,
walking around and sending my thing, and after I hung up, she was like, "That was really good. What do you do for work?" And I was just like chatting with her and stuff like that. And she was like, "Wow." She was like, "You said a lot of good things, and I don't even own a business." So yeah, the last three have been absolutely incredible. Definitely get your butt in there. It's one of my favorite containers because we share everything from, social media, emotional intelligence, marketing, everything that you can possibly think of to grow yourself, grow your business, and then also be able to lead yourself and lead others. And we'll go ahead and drop the link down below as well. Jess, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
no, I love all of that. And, a lot of people over the last couple of years have been asking how me and Tara do what we do because our organization together over the last 2 years has done over $35 million in sales. And that is exactly
High
what
ticket sales.
high ticket sales, by the way. Yeah. And that is what we teach you guys inside of Playbook to Millions is literally everything that we teach our high ticket clients on how to scale and how to close. So everything is in there that you need. And I absolutely love the program. Actually, our girl Leanne, one of the coaches inside of Playbook to Millions, already added two new
Yes, she did.
modules in there the other week. So, like we said, we're going to be continuing to add to it. There's so much to know, there's so much to learn, but everything that you need to scale right now is currently there. And coaching calls will pick up really soon. We're super freaking excited. And, we're just super excited to build this community with people over this year. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
So many exciting things that we have planned for our clients, for our high ticket business, for Jess and I, the things that we have scheduled. It's just really going to be absolutely incredible. We can't wait. Like we're constantly thinking of new things and it's like we want to do it all at once. We like chill. We have to like pace
I
ourselves
know, we
because
really do.
we have so many things and we love to do everything, well, of course, with a spirit of excellence. And so we really need to make sure that we are spacing things out so we have enough time to be able to plan and make sure that we are executing in a way that, serves everybody at the highest capacity. But just know and keep your eyes peeled that what we have planned for our high ticket community and also our coaching community is nothing short of absolute amazingness, and it's also things that other people are not doing right now in the industry because it's so easy to constantly hear the same things or see the same things over and over, and we really pride ourselves on being different and unique. So it really takes a certain type of person to constantly be thinking of different unique things to keep everything fresh and exciting and teach people in a different way that really brands it to yourself. So what we are going to be launching is, absolutely incredible, and I can't wait for the girls to hear it because they're going to lose their minds.
They are. And then you guys, we have something that we're going to announce. I don't know. We haven't really talked about it yet, but me and Tara have something so exciting coming up at the end of May that it's like
Oh
not
my
even funny.
God.
I can't contain myself. So we got to decide on when we're going to tell everyone about that because I am so excited for that to come and to take you guys
Yeah.
all with us along on the journey. So more to come on that
I
soon.
know. My daughter's like, I'm so jealous. Da, 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 da. I'm like, well, you
My
can always
husband
join
too.
high ticket.
I know. My
Oh my
husband's
God, I'm
like, I
sorry.
was talking to him about it the other day and I was like, do you want to see this? And he was like, I was like, no. And he's like, well, I'm kind of sad. I don't get to go, but you know.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's going to be literally something of a lifetime. And I cannot wait because it's going to be absolutely magical. So, with that being said, today is a topic, like I said in the very beginning, that a lot of people need to kind of keep this in mind because this will happen at some point in your journey. And, you always hear things like it's very lonely at the top because hang on one second. I'm sorry. I need to like
No.
shut.
So I'll just introduce what we're going to talk about while Tara is dealing with that. So this is something that is inevitable to happen in your journey, whether you do network marketing, affiliate marketing, coaching, consulting, it literally does not matter because we're in the people business. So these kinds of experiences that we're going to be talking about today are inevitable. But what I fully believe is that there's kind of like a right way to go about it and a wrong way to go about it. There's a way to how do I say this? A lot of people get into network marketing and affiliate marketing with no prior experience in business or management at a high level and a high capacity. And so there's a lot of skills that need to be learned. There's a lot of emotional intelligence that needs to be gained, a lot of business acumen that needs to be gained. And what tends to happen is that a lot of people are kind of running around emotionally not challenged, but in their emotions. And when we make our decisions based out of emotion, we tend to kind of create chaos. Now, I did this in the beginning, and the reason I can talk about these things is because I've experienced it, I've done it, and I've also seen it play out a lot. And so our what we need to do is to have like these conversations around how to conduct ourselves in business because this industry is very small. It
Yes.
feels large. It feels like, oh, there's millions of people in this industry, but it's a small space where
It is.
as people talk, everyone kind of knows everyone, especially if you rise to a certain amount of leadership, people will know you. And Tara and I can attest to this because we just had an experience a couple weeks ago where we got into a really small, intimate mastermind and we're in the same room with someone that burned a bridge with us. Okay.
Yes.
It was a very interesting situation. And that mastermind was ran by a coach who coaches thousands upon thousands of people. And so for us to be in this intimate space with this person was like, it just proved the point that this industry is real small. Okay. You
Yeah.
will inevitably cross paths with these people at some point, whether it's at a convention, it's at a mastermind, it's at a retreat, it doesn't really matter. Like it is kind of inevitable to have this happen. So Tara, I don't know if you wanted to continue your thought before I keep going.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, like I was saying before, at some point in business, you will experience this because, like they say, it's lonely at the top. And the reason why they say that is because there will come a point in time where you get to a level where you're trying to help. Like, let's just take network marketing, for example, okay? Because with coaching, it's a little bit different. The relationships aren't as deep sometimes because of the simple fact that you might pay your coach for, 3 months or 6 months, and you can either choose to like, resign or not. But in network marketing, you are working side by side with people every single day, and you are taking people that come to you and they're like, going through a really hard time right now. My house is like on the verge of going into foreclosure. Me and my husband, if that happens, we're going to get divorced. So they're coming to you at times where they're going through a really hard time. And so you feel for them and you love what you do and you're here to help people. And so you pour everything that you have into this person. I mean, you take them from somebody who, maybe lacks confidence. They have no skills around what it is that they're doing. And you're working with them day in and day out. You're having to have hard conversations with them sometimes if, they're, telling stories to themselves of why they can't do this or why this, and you have to really let them know that, hey, like, okay, is that fact or is that a feeling, you know? So the point in what I'm trying to say is you really work side by side and you're watching them hit these milestones and you're taking them from a place of being completely broken to thriving in a way that they could never have imagined, right? And so I always say that if you live by the cheers, you'll die by the booze. And this is exactly why you cannot allow, you know, when people are loving on you and saying, you know, oh, thank you so much, like you changed my life. Yes, of course, be grateful for that, absolutely. But you can't allow that to put you on a high horse when that happens, because if you're constantly looking for that validation, or you're constantly living on that high because you want to be praised for the work that you do, well, when people act in a manner which is anything less than, you know, being in integrity, or there's some sort of betrayal that happens, it will literally drop you. Like you'll feel like you're falling from the sky, because it feels like a gut punch, because we all know that betrayal comes from somebody that you love and trusted and things like that, right? So, like I said, when you're in network marketing, you'll feel that sometimes it's lonely at the top, because you get to a place where maybe, you know, you're thriving and you're trying to help all these other people to have success, and they're getting there, but maybe they're just not getting there super quickly. And so while they are working to get there, you know, you're the one that is handling everything, right? You're handling how everything works, from the training and answering questions and coaching, and you're constantly pouring into people over and over and over again. And it's a very thankless job and position. And that's why you don't do it. You don't do these types of things just for the money, because once you get the money, it's like, okay, money's no longer the driving factor anymore, because you have the money, right? You have to love what you do in order to keep on doing it and continue to endure these types of things over and over again. So I want to give you guys a quick little example that I experienced what we're about to talk about for the first time in 2018. So there was a lot of politics going on at that time. I was the number 22 income earner of my company. They had just announced the top 25 of the company and all of that. And there was some politics that were going on. My team was thriving. We had the fastest growing team, the number one team, which we still have. Well, my team over there, they still are to this day. But because of politics and things that were going on, I allowed my emotional intelligence to get the best of me. And instead of me just saying, you know what, I'm going to take a step back, because it was the summertime. Instead of me saying, I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to shut my phone off, I'm just going to enjoy time with my children. And then I'm going to revisit this, because we all know that time heals everything. And after a little while, like, that doesn't even matter anymore. You move on, you forget about it, and something else happens and everybody's like focusing on that, right? So because I allowed that to happen and I left prematurely, within the first 7 days of me leaving that company, I realized that I made a big mistake. And it's actually funny, because when I was resigning, I felt it there, like, oh my God, I don't even think I should really be doing this. But I was so mad. And my mom used to say, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. She used to say that all the time to me. And that's exactly what I was doing in that moment. Like, oh, you want to treat me like that? Or, oh, you want to be like that? Then I'm leaving, I'm out, blah, 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 right? And in the end, the only person that I was really hurting was me, because even though the people that were leaving, they wanted to leave and they're still where they are, but I took on things that had nothing to do with me, and I inserted myself because of the way that people that I cared about were unhappy, or whatever the case may be. And it only bit me in the butt later on. So I tried to go back at least 3 different times, and that door was slammed shut, locked, a million freaking locks. It was never going to be opened again. And I really suffered from that for, a good 4.5 years, until I found Jess. I mean, everybody who knows me personally knows that I cried about that at least twice a week from the day that I left. I mean, nonstop. I was devastated about it, right? Because I truly loved that business. I did. And the reason why I moved so quickly and got to where I was so quickly was because I loved that business, and I could talk about it all day, every single day, right? Connecticut, there wasn't even really anybody in Connecticut doing it. And I put Connecticut on the map. I was the first person to hit every single rank in Connecticut. So anyways, with that being said, that was a lesson that I learned that I would never do again. I would never allow politics, because politics are always going to happen. There's always going to be people that might not agree with this or they might not agree with that. Don't get involved in things like that, because it's only going to come back to hurt you. And again, like Jess was saying, there's a lot of people in the world, but the internet is very small and the online marketing space is also very small. And I can guarantee you that if you burn bridges, right, for things that you really shouldn't be burning bridges about, what's going to happen is you're going to come to a point in time where you need to cross that bridge again and you're not going to be able to. And something that happened maybe a few years ago that has absolutely nothing to do with maybe this path or something you're trying to do, you're not going to be able to do it because of the bridge that was burned. And that leads me into my next thought is, being an entrepreneur is going to come with having emotional intelligence, right? And we talk about this a lot because it's not just a little buzzword to throw around. When you decide to start a business, you are now becoming a professional, right? You need to conduct yourself and carry yourself in a different way or in a different manner than you would in other situations, right? Especially if you have teams or you have other people, because it's not, your decisions don't only just affect you, they also affect other people. And if you do hold some level of influence where people do look up to you and they trust what it is that you're saying, you need to know that you carry a responsibility of your actions trickling down to other people, which can in turn truly hurt them in the long run. And so you need to be looking at all aspects and not making decisions off of emotions, because emotions are fleeting, right? You feel this way one day and you feel this way another day, right? And so, but once you make those decisions, that decision is made, right? We all have a choice and we have free will to make these decisions. So, also as women, we're always not going to see eye to eye. Okay. We're all brought up in different ways, right? We all have different perspectives. We all see things through a different lens. And so we always say that, listen, there's going to come a time where we're not going to see eye to eye on something and we have to have a hard conversation. And while everybody feels amazing in that moment, they're like, yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have the hard conversations. But then when the time comes, nobody wants to have the hard conversations, right? And you are naive to think that everything is going to constantly be smooth sailing to the fact that you aren't going to have a hard conversation. Because then what starts to happen is you harbor it, you push it down, and then things that they do that they have no idea that you're feeling a certain way, they start doing certain things. And now you're like, well, why'd she do that? Why'd she say that? And this person has no idea that you're even thinking or feeling this way, right? And so here's the thing, Jess and I, we've in 2.5 years, we've had hard conversations. I think we probably have had 3 very hard conversations. That's why we're able to continue to keep growing and thriving. It's not because, we've never run into a place where we didn't have to have one. No, that's why we are so strong, because if something's bothering her or something's bothering me, we say, hey, when you have a moment that we can really like be uninterrupted, we need to have a conversation, and we have it, and we both, get it off of our chest and we move forward. And that's just all there is to it, because that is life and business.
And what's always funny about that, you guys, and this is what's so funny about resentments, is that like, it's never what you think it is, which is why it's so important to have these conversations. Every time me and Tara have to have these conversations, we let it out, we vent, and then it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I ain't even feeling that way. Or if you would have just told me, I would have done this, or I would have done this, or like, let's do this instead because you're feeling this way. And it's always like, oh, look how much easier. Oh, that felt great, And that is the problem with having like emotionally charged adults who aren't willing to have these hard conversations, is we make it out to be something that it isn't even. And my sponsor always talks about how like resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. Yes. Like there is no point in holding resentments, because it becomes something that it shouldn't even be in the first place. And so like Tara said, like we create these resentments and then we make these emotional decisions that then create these ripple effects that later most of the time you look back and you're like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done it that way. I probably shouldn't have done this. But a lot of the time when our emotions are high, we're making decisions based out of ego. And I love
Yeah.
that Tara brought up the fact that, don't live for the cheers because you'll die for the booze. My mentor says something the exact similar, in a mastermind we took together, she was telling us like, don't inflate your ego with all of the love, and also don't let the hate or the villainizing destroy your business, because there's going to be two sides of the coin for everyone. And you are naive to think that that will never happen to you. I was naive to think that that would never happen to me. The first separation I had to have with a mentor that was really important to me, I never saw coming. Like, never. I thought for the longest time, I saw it happen to other people with this mentor of mine, but I was like, it'll never happen to me. I'm close. We're friends. Like, we hang out. My kid and her kid are friends. Like, this will never happen to me. And it blindsided the absolute shit out of me when it did happen. Okay. So no amount of love, no amount of hugs and kumbaya is going to
Oh.
sustain a business or leadership without being able to have these actual conversations, because we're running real businesses with attorneys and contracts and real money, helping people actually quit their careers. Like, this is business if you're actually wanting to do business. And I think this is why a lot of people struggle, is because they want the feel good. They want to be the guy. They want their ego to be stroked. A lot of people get into network marketing and affiliate marketing because they don't like their bosses and they want to feel validated. But the need to be validated and the need to have that love come at you every single day is the wrong reason to be in business. It is the wrong reason. So that is why I am always so head down and focused, not knowing what the hell is going on with anyone or anything, because I'm just focused on me and my business. Like, if you don't like what I'm doing, then I'm just not meant for you. If you don't love what I'm doing, then I'm just not meant for you. If you don't like me, then just go somewhere else. Like, I have a mission. I have people that are attached to my destiny. I have hit things that I'm here to do. And if I made decisions based on, will people like me if I do this?
Yes.
Or if I go live or create a post, will people love on me? Like,
Yes.
if I made decisions based on that, I would be dimming my light. I would not be fulfilled. And that means then, if I create a post and it doesn't get the love that I thought it would, then it attacks my worthiness and my belief. Like, that is just the wrong reason to be in business.
Right. That's why we talk about vanity metrics all the time, right? When you're starting your business and you're creating content because you have something to say that you want other people to hear. It's not about the amount of people right away, even if one person hears it, right? That one person could be me, or that one person could be Jess, that joins you and changes your entire business. That one person, that's all that it takes, right? But then people will create content and they'll be like, oh, I only got 50 views, or, oh, nobody left any comments. And it's like, you're looking for that external validation on why you should be doing what you're doing, or you're so amazing, or you're so this and all of that. And I'll never forget when I joined business with Jess, I remember saying, I'm just gonna put my head down. Like, I don't even want anyone to even know me, look at me. I don't want yeah, I was like, I don't want any of that, because what happens is when you start to come up and you start to, constantly be on the leaderboard, or you're winning bonuses or certificates or this, and it's a constant thing, people go from being inspired to being triggered, and then they don't like you anymore, and then they start creating drama and all of that. And it happens a lot, not just to me, to people in general, right? People will watch you on social media and they'll be like, oh my God, I've been watching you forever. I'm so inspired by you. I love your story. And then they join and they're so excited and they're sharing about you, like my mentor and this and blah, 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 and then they get triggered along the way if they're not at a place that they desire to be at yet. And then all of a sudden you're the problem. It's your fault. They don't like you anymore. They stop interacting with you. And all of a sudden you did absolutely nothing but try to help them. And now all of a sudden they don't like you anymore. And this happens frequently to a lot of people, which is why I said, I don't even want anyone to know me at all. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be at the forefront of everything. But when you think about it, that's ridiculous, because when you build big teams, you have to be the one that, does the trainings, constantly thinking of new ideas. Like, you've got to be the one that leads the team, but I was just so tired of that happening. But it's just inevitable. It's just something that's going to happen all of the time. And if you haven't experienced it yet, eventually you will. And this is something that needs to be talked about so that people know how to deal with it, because it can feel very, very debilitating when you are the first one up every morning and the last one to go to sleep. And while everybody is just, working their business and tapping into the resources and growing and making money, you are doing all of the things that make the business move so that people can just plug in and enroll people and plug them in, and everybody can keep having success. And you're the one that has to be doing all of the other things while also building your own business and filling up your own cup and still being a mom and being a wife and doing all the other things that come into it. And that's why we said it's a very thankless job, because people just automatically assume like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to be doing and this and that. And it's like, not really. Like, we're really not obligated to do it, because there's a lot of people in our company that you join and you don't get any one-on-one mentorship with them at all. And you have to pay for the training every single month. And you have to pay for ads and figure out the ads and spend money on ads when you're brand new and all of that. And it's just like, sometimes people think that, the grass is greener on the other side until they actually realize like, wow, we are very blessed and spoiled to have all that we have, on top of the fact that we close your first $75,000 in sales for you on top of it. And like, if you come in and, we close somebody for you, and then that person, they bring someone, we close that, that sale for them as well. Like, we're truly putting money into the hands of people. And so when people start to develop, whatever it is that they do, and they're not willing to, pull up their big girl panties, in all honesty, if I'm keeping it real, and have this hard conversation with you, and then they just either ghost you or block you or do whatever it is that they do, it's very hurtful.
It is hurtful. And it's like that saying, like, the grass is greener where you water it. And
Yeah.
so for me, like, this is what the whole conversation is about, you guys. It's not to like, I don't know. The whole conversation is about what can you do when these things arise? How can
Right.
you move through these? Because it's inevitable to happen. And the
Yes.
first question is like, are you currently being triggered by other people winning in your space, online, in your company, whatever? Because that is your first inclination that your ego is being triggered. Okay. So that's what we have to get in check first. And that's what I had to learn early on. That was my first phase, right? It was like, I'm getting triggered by all these people winning. But then it was like, okay, so how can I think something different? Obviously, the business works. Obviously, the system works. Obviously, the coaching works. So I need to work. It wasn't, it's working for them because they have something special and they're, getting secret sauces and it's not me. It was like, no, I'm the one that I need to work on me, and I need to stop looking at everyone else. Because if I'm getting triggered by everyone else, then I just need to stop looking. And that's why I always tell Tara, like, I never know what's going on, because I'm just like I'm like not paying attention, because I know me, I do still get triggered by things. Like, how come she's doing
It's
that and I'm not
natural.
doing that?
Yeah.
So like, I still blinders on, like, I don't even want to see what's going on. So it's first like, how are you feeling right now in business? Do you get triggered by other people winning? Do you get triggered and start to look outward of like, okay, well, obviously it's working for them and it's not working for me. There's something that they're getting that I'm not. And then it's understanding that once you build the business, once you put your head down, you work, you have the team, you have the organization, understanding that other people are going to be triggered by you winning, right? Other people are going to be triggered by your light and you standing in your power and your authority. And the reason that happens is because other people who don't feel like they're standing in their authority, they're not confident in who they are. They're like, how come you get to be that? How come
Right.
you get to win? How come you get to, be happy and be the guy? Like, how come you get to make the money and make it look effortless? And the thing about leaders, true leaders, they lead and they make it look effortless, but it's not effortless.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We have to remember that everything that's shown on social media and even in like coaching calls and things like that is the highlight reel, right? It's when people are acting like they need to be for business, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And I always like to tell my clients, like, or I, tell people, it feels like people forget that leaders are human, that
Yeah.
leaders have feelings, that leaders have emotions, that leaders go through all of these things. So up front, they may be leading how they need to. They're leading their pack. They're showing up in their authority. They're not out, having outbursts. They're not being emotional, but behind the scenes, people are still feeling things. And we
Mhm.
forget that. Like they can just hold it because they make it look easy to hold. But what I think we need to do is we need to humanize leaders. We need to humanize people. And what we need to do is we need to look for the similarities in others and not the differences. And that is
Right.
the biggest, like Tara says, what is it, like cut your nose to spite your face type thing, where you're like, you look different, you have this that's different, you like this and I don't like that. So many people are so quick to look for the differences in others, which is why we struggle as humans to connect with one another. If we
Mhm.
focused on the similarities of like, oh, you love business, I love business. Oh, you like to make money, I like to make money.
Yeah.
You like to spend your money on this, that's cool, I like to spend my money on this. Like if we looked for the similarities in others, we would be able to connect so much more. Like a really good example of this, I do not consider myself religious. I am very spiritual. My last mentor was very religious, very, very religious. I'm very spiritual. For a lot of people, those two things wouldn't connect, right? But I was able to look past it, like, I don't care what you believe in. I don't care about that. Are you a good fucking human? Are you kind? Do you want other people to win? Like, that's really all I care, is that you're a
Yeah.
good human. I don't care about your beliefs. I don't care about your religious beliefs, your political beliefs, or anything like this. Like, are you a good human? That's
Right.
what I care about. But so many people are running around on this planet looking for what's different in you and I. How can I not connect with you and I? And that is hurting your bag. It is hurting
Yes.
your business. It is hurting your life because one, you're missing out on a lot of relationships that you could have with really fucking cool people because you choose to believe just because we have a different religious belief than you, then we can't connect. And that is so far out sad. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. But if we're disconnecting and we're looking for the differences, it's going to be really hard to build thriving communities. Because if you get to the point where you have thousands of thousands of thousands of people in your community, of course, not everyone is going to be the same. And if we're thinking you have to look like me to join me in business, that's mean girl vibes. You can't sit with us vibes. And that is
Yeah.
not what I'm about. What I'm
No.
about is creating a done for you system that's plug and play that anyone, no matter age, race, sexual orientation, creed, religion, or lack of religion, I don't care. Like if you can come in and win, that is the whole point. You don't have to like me. You don't have to look like me. We don't have to be besties. That's not the whole point. I'm your business mentor. I'm your business
Right.
coach. My job is to help you scale a sustainable and successful business. And so that's where people get it twisted in network marketing because they think, oh, well, it's a cool girls club. We all have to look the same. We all have to want to do the same stuff every day and hang out every day. But it's like, that's why a lot of these massive like network marketing teams, everyone's broke, yet they're going on retreats together that they're putting on credit cards. Because it's a cool girls club
Earning or they earn it for free.
where they earn it for free, but their paycheck is still tiny, right? So
Yeah.
they're all broke, but they act happy because it's a cool girls club. I would much rather you look different than me and me help you make $20,000 a month than us be best friends and feel like we have to go on vacation together.
Yeah, because then you can take your team or your family or your whatever, and you guys can go on vacation and do all of it. And that leads me to one of the other points that I had as well, is that, that's the other thing that people do in network marketing is that, they will join people that they want to be friends with, right? And when you join a business, it's like you want a mentor that's going to challenge you. You want a mentor that's going to tell you when you are wrong, or not just be like you're wrong, but like when you go for saying this, that, and I always say, are you open for coaching? And they say yes. And I'm like, okay. So this is what I'm seeing, and they know that it's coming from like a good place. But when you're all besties and friendly and fuzzy and that, nobody wants to say that. Again, nobody wants to have the hard conversation.
Ruffle feathers.
Right. They don't want to ruffle the feathers. They don't want to make them feel bad. But if your friends knew how to get you to your next level, you'd be there. Right. And so that's the issue. And, I look for a mentor that's going to, and I have a very strong personality. So I need to find a mentor that is going to say, Tara, we're telling stories now. You know that's not that. That's, I need somebody that's going to challenge me and tell me that, not yes me to death. That's not going to help me. That's not going to help me to get the results or stop what it is that I'm doing so that I can do something else to actually move or get the results that it is that I'm looking for. Not only that, but how can I become a better leader if I'm also doing that to my team that is relying on me, or why they picked me to be their mentor to help get them to their next level. If I'm just agreeing with them, knowing dang well that I don't agree with them and what they're doing is not helping them, I'm doing them a disservice, and actually like I'm lying to them.
No, 100%. 100%.
So you want to be in the big leagues, you want to be making multiple six, seven figures. Well, in order to do that, you need to have a mentor that is going to be honest with you and tell you what it is, not someone that's going to powder your ass and yes you to death. I'm sorry, but that's just not what it is. And so in network marketing, that's what people will do, is that they'll find somebody that they can be friends with versus actually finding a mentor. Now, if you happen to become friends like Jess and I, right? She was my mentor. And I'll be honest with you that prior to joining Jess, I had always said that I wasn't going to join anybody in business who hadn't made more money than me. And when I say more money than me, I mean like hadn't made more money than me, because then that means that they haven't helped more people and they just aren't at that, in order to, be making 10 and then 20 and then 50 and so forth and so on. It requires a new level of you. And that's what I mean by that. So what was happening was I was joining with people that were not at that level. And then what was happening was I was the one mentoring them and mentoring their whole team. Well, who's going to mentor me and help me to get where I needed to be? However, it was different with Jess, because what attracted me to her was I saw her live video. And when I listened to it, I was like, whoa, I'm like, she sounds like me when she's talking. And I loved her energy and her vibe. And because she was still in her running season to get to that first leadership level, I was like, okay, she's not at like the level where she can kind of sit back and chill, whatever happens, happens. Because no matter what, $50,000 a month is going to come to her every month. She's in the building season. So I'm like, okay, love her energy, love what she stands for. And she's running right now. This is going to work. So when I joined her, she taught me a lot about boundaries and, how to have hard conversations and how to do this and how to do that. So yes, even though she hadn't made that amount of money yet, she was the mentor that I needed. And then over time, we ended up becoming friends. And the good thing about Jess and I is not only do we have the hard conversations, but we also are able to, when she comes to me as a friend, not in a mentor-mentee situation, I'm honest with her. Same thing with me. When I go to her, I'll be like, tell me if I'm wrong. She's like, well, you could have probably did this or blah, blah, blah. We don't yes each other to death. And that's why we work the way that we work, because in the mentee mentor situation, we're honest and real with each other and have hard conversations. And in the friendship aspect, we're honest and real with each other and don't just yes each other to death because that's what the other person wants to hear.
Amen. And this is like what we're talking about of like burning bridges. If you can have disagreements with people that you work closely with, but what happens is then when you like remove each other from your ether, what you should do, again, maybe I'm not telling you what is right or wrong, but what I think you should do is you should leave that situation amicably, right? With respect and with integrity and with dignity. Because then what happens is like, if we burn bridges and then we create like this marketing, this scheme where we're talking bad about that person, we're making up lies, we're doing whatever, now the bridge is completely disintegrated. And what I've learned over the last couple of years, you guys, of like having people decide
And
like,
for what?
well, that's what I'm saying. Cause like people have left over the years, been like, I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, awesome. Please go do that. People come back. I've been here long enough now to realize that people come back. And you could come back in a way where it's like open arms, like, I'm so excited to come back around. Like, are you willing to have me back in? Like, yeah, let's run. And then there's those times where it's like, you know what? When you left, you decided to disintegrate the bridge, talk badly, say the things that you did. And unfortunately, the door's not going to be open. I've had to have that conversation with people as well, too, because you kind of showed who you are, what you are, your values, those kinds of things. And I don't think it's changed just given the time. And it doesn't feel safe for you to come into my community, but I wish you the best. And this is why when I leave you guys, if I decide like my mentor isn't for me or this isn't for me, I do it with the utmost integrity because I never know when I'm going to want to come back around. And also I learned that reputation is really important, right? I don't want people hearing things that I did. People make up lies. It is the internet, whatever. But even when I left, when me and Tara left our last community together and decided to, go all in with Babs, we were treated horribly and we didn't reciprocate any of it. No. Because what I've also learned is that I get back what I give. Yeah. And karma is a real thing. At some point, there's not a certain amount of time, there's not a crystal ball, but at some point that karma will come back around. And I always want to keep my side of the street clean. Like you make yours a mess, you do what you want to do, but that's not my responsibility. My side of the street is clean and I feel good because I didn't do and I didn't burn the bridge. I
Mhm.
didn't take the torch to it. That wasn't my doing. And like Tara and I have been talking about this whole time, is just like there's gonna be times where you want to come back or you go to a mastermind and they're there or whatever. And it's just like the way that we build thriving businesses in this community is through networking, or this industry is networking. And you never know when one person is going to have an opportunity that you could plug into, right? Where you could go with them and still learn and expand, even if you're not in a mentee mentor relationship anymore. So I don't know. I just don't really get the
And
just
also,
the
even
way
if
out.
it wasn't an aspect of like coming back to that specific business, who knows? Maybe there's like another venture or something that you thought about that person and was like, hey, like, how would you feel about this? And it's like, oh my God, yeah, like thank you for thinking of me because we had such a great time working together, but people's, things change, or maybe they just want to try something else or whatever the case may be. And by all means, go ahead. Like I am mature enough to understand that people grow and evolve. Like maybe you started out in network marketing in health and wellness, but your true passion is skincare and makeup, right? Who am I to be like, oh yeah, no, you want to leave, then F you, and but like totally ruin a relationship and burn a bridge all because that person no longer affects my check, or because I feel like, who do you think you are? No. Is it going to burn? Yes. Does it kind of suck? Yes. But that doesn't mean that the relationship is going anywhere. You guys can still communicate. I would support you, go and buy something from you, keep in contact with you. And then who knows? Maybe they decide to come back, or maybe they decide to start a different venture later on, right? Like it doesn't need to be that. And that's why the industry gets such a bad name, because people do that. When they decide to leave, they either A, don't know how to have the conversation because they feel so bad that it feels easier to them to just block and leave and go do their own thing and not have to face it, versus just being like, I know this is really going to suck and I hope you don't hate me because I love you to death. And I'm so grateful for seriously everything that you have done for me, everything that you taught me. And this really decision really isn't based on anything that you did at all. You've been wonderful. But I really feel called to do something that's like more in my passion. And I hope that we can stay friends and keep in contact. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to miss you so much. And yes, it sucks so badly, but of course we're still going to be friends. And of course we're going to still stay in contact. That's not 9 out of 10 times. That's not how it happens. They'd
No.
rather just block, leave, ignore. And it's like, how could you like just do that after this person took you from where you were, helped you to completely transform your entire life to the life that you're living today, and you just show no gratitude or just treat that person like with
Little
some
respect.
decency of just being honest or letting them know, and you'd rather just betray them, hurt them? Like, does that person really deserve it? Like, think about it. Like, did that person ever do something so horrible to you that they deserve that? No.
The answer is always no. And it's just like the lack of respect. And I think it just shows the lack of emotional intelligence and business acumen, where, it's easier to do that than face the conversation. And this is why people will continue to struggle in the space, because here's the thing: if you do it to someone, it's going to happen right back. I
Yeah,
don't know
and when it
when,
comes
but
back
it will.
around, let me just tell you, when it comes back around, it's going to be 10 times harder than what you gave out. And I'm being honest.
Well, and it's like, the other thing we said on this was like leaders are bridges and bridges are meant to be tested. And so the whole conversation is like, how do we move through these things knowing that they're inevitable? Like
Mhm.
how, and then like, how do we manage our own emotions when they happen? How do we move? Because here's the thing: when things like this happen to you, when it was not needed, it was not, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, called for,
Yeah.
it's real easy to like want to bring out hood Jess, like before I got clean, when I was living on the streets, like it's real hard to like not want to clap back and not want to provide evidence, not want to say this and say that.
Screenshots and
But here's the
receipts.
thing, dude, all the receipts. Leaders are bridges and bridges are meant to be tested. Every time we go to a new level, it's like there's going to be a barrier to entry.
Yes.
And it's going to be like the universe is saying, okay, so you want to hold this next thing. Do
Yeah.
you have the capacity to hold it? I'm going to give you a test. And if you don't pass the test, then we're going to like hold on for a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you can pass the test, then we'll open the bridge and you can take more people across the bridge with you. Like
Right.
that's kind of the thing with leaders or bridges, and bridges are meant to be tested. It's like every time we have a new level, it's like we step onto the bridge and we test it. Is it creaking? Does it need more foundation? I don't know how you build bridges. Does it need more thingies? You know, planks.
Steel.
Like, does it need anything? And these moments of time when it feels like everything is crumbling around, everything is kind of falling apart. Every time I look back on scenarios like that, it's like it was the barrier to my next level every freaking time. And so even if it's hard, it's like, what are we learning? And this is the difference between emotionally ran people and people who have their emotions in check. It's like the question is, or it's not, how can I fight back? How can I clap back? How dare you? How dare she? This, that, and the third. It's like, okay, I see it for what it is. I see the projections for what they are. What do I need to learn in this moment? What wisdom do I need to gain? Because if it's happening to me, and it has happened to me, it's going to happen to my clients. And I need to know like how I can help them through those scenarios. I need to know if this happens again, what's a better way to go about it? And so those are the questions we need to be asking ourselves is, what do I need to learn here? And how can I learn? And then how can I move with the utmost integrity, dignity, and grace through this situation, keeping my side of the street clean, knowing that I'm living in morals and integrity? Because those are the questions that we should be asking, because that's the whole point of situations like this is like, what's the wisdom that I need to learn, rather than how can I clap back? Because that's old, Jess. That's old, Sarah. We don't do that no more. And you don't do that no more. Who's ever watching this, right? It's what wisdom, what's the lesson here? Because it's going to happen. And every time you go to your next level, inevitably, I mean, I don't really want to say that into existence, but I feel like it always does, right? Like there's always going to be like a barrier to the next level, and it's like a ceiling.
Well, that, and not only that, on your journey, there are going to be people who come and people that leave, and there's going to be people that leave in a very amicable way, and then there's going to be people who leave in a very dirty way that is very, very hurtful. It's inevitable. And it's going to happen. And sometimes, you know, God hears the things that are being said behind your back when you have no idea that this is even going on in your mind. You're thinking everything is perfectly fine, right? And thinking that you have a good enough relationship with people that, you know, if there was any type of issue that they would come to you and say something about it. So you're just going on about life like everything is all fine. And then they end up, you know, doing something that is a form of betrayal, and it hurts really, really bad. But, you know, God says, where I'm taking you, that person cannot come. You have already, like, look at what you've done for this person's life, like very selflessly loved on this person, did so much for this person. And I'm hearing conversations and seeing things that are transpiring that you have no idea. And so now you're on your way to your next level, and that person cannot come with you. So sometimes elevation requires separation, and not everybody that you start with are going to be the people that you finish with. And does it suck? Absolutely. But on your journey, this will happen. It will happen. I'm telling you. And it's not a nice feeling. And this can be the thing that takes people out, because it's such a sucky feeling and it hurts so bad. It literally feels like a breakup sometimes, that you're like, how could they, like, I'm so confused. Like, how can this person do like, and not even say anything, or like, just leave me so blindsided. Like, I did not deserve this, you know? Thinking about the extra time, or maybe the late nights, or maybe you like blew something off because they needed you to help them with something or whatever. Just all the sacrifices that you helped in the quest to help them to get to where they're at, and they didn't even have the decency to go out with some type of respect. And so again, this will take people out, and they'll feel like they never want to do it again, or, you know, they can't trust people. And you have to just realize that that is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. And as you go on, you will be able to handle it a little bit better. But this is also why boundaries do need to be had as well, because boundaries do need to be had as well, because, you know, when you just join and you want to be friendly with everybody and you just invite them into your world and you just all of that, this will happen more than not, because then they just feel like, oh, it's whatever, like, she's not going to care, she's not going to this, and that boundary definitely needs to be had. And sometimes people will think like, oh, you're being mean. It's like, no, I'm being a professional.
Well, and the thing we have to be careful of, one of the last things I'll say is that like this will create people, like it'll turn you into an ice queen if you don't. I
Yes.
don't know if you've heard that term ice queen, but it's
Yeah,
like
that's what I mean.
it's like, yeah, and that's what made me think of it. Is like sometimes this will happen, and it's like the more it happens, the harder you get. And like
Mhm.
internally, like your heart gets hard because it's like, I'm not going to let anyone near me then, because if
Right.
this is just inevitable and it's going to happen, then I'm just going to do me, you do you, I'm going to
Yep.
coach you, and that's it. And this
Yeah.
is why they say it's lonely at the top, because people get hurt like this, the betrayal, the backstabbing, the whatever. And it's like, well, it's easy to keep everyone at an arm's length than let you get close to me. So it's like having this, like, we have to find this balance of not turning into an ice queen, especially when you're people like us who have big hearts. We want everyone to win. We wish we could be friends with everyone. We want to validate everyone every day. But when there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people, it is also really difficult because, again, leaders are human. We have kids, we have spouses, we're traveling, we're doing extracurricular soccer, basketball, like it's all going on top of managing thousands upon thousands of people. And so
Right.
it's like, that is definitely my biggest lesson through all this, is like not becoming an ice queen because I want to sometimes, but still having my softness where I can share, love and kindness with everyone, because that's really what's most important to me. So we have to remember that when we go through these experiences, and they'll happen at every level, even with your family and friends. You guys, this happened to me when I started my high ticket business. I
Mhm.
lost two of my closest friends because my elevation required separation from them. They had conversations going on that I didn't know about. And that next level of like going through that experience before I had made any money was freaking difficult. So it happens at every level with people around you, your loved ones, your family, friends, like coworkers. Like it's just inevitable. So how can we move through this with integrity and emotional intelligence, not becoming an ice queen and still doing it with love? It's a lot to manage, but that's why you got us.
Yeah. And that's why we're here. And that's why we show up every single week to share the things that we've gone through, and, how we've dealt with them, and continue to keep on going, but going in a way where we're still thriving, and, hitting next levels and milestones and all of that, because we want to show you that what it really takes and what it requires to be able to not only lead yourself, but lead other people into these, really big milestones, or I don't know like what you want to call them, but levels, I guess. You know what I mean? But again, I think I'm just going to end it in saying that everybody's different. We're all different people. And if you are not like me in the sense of like, I'm a girly girl, right? I love my hair, I love my lashes, I love getting dressed, but you're not somebody who's like that, right? Like you're somebody that maybe never wears makeup, never does that. You're into sports, and or maybe you like to go to rock and roll concerts. I am still going to absolutely love and adore you. And I'm still going to take you to your next level. And I'm still going to treat you and help you exactly the same way that I would for somebody who is like me. And that's also the beauty of the network marketing business, and why in our business we do what we do, which is every single Tuesday we have an opportunity call so that people who are interested can see that there are all different walks of life. You don't have to have a certain look to do this business. You don't have to be a certain type of person to do this business. And I'll be honest, when I first started back in 2015, that was one of the biggest things that really like blew my mind, was that there were, women in the sticks of like Indiana that were making $50,000 a month and didn't look like Kim Kardashian, and they were having massive success. And I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible. So I
Yeah.
love to lead teams where I have teams of people that are all different. And that's why we teach you to grow your brand. And I say it all the time, like my ideal client avatar is going to be different than yours, because we're different. We have different interests. We have different likes. We have different everything. But the fact of the matter is, with that being said, the blueprint doesn't change based off of the way you look or the things that you like. The training is the training. And now you take that training and you go and you build a community with your types of people. So now let's say I'm talking to somebody that, loves rock and roll and, all of that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, you are going to love Rachel, I'm gonna tag you in her opportunity video. She is the same. You guys are literally one of the same. I swear. I'm gonna tag you in her video. Go hear her story. You're gonna be obsessed, and then I'm gonna tag you in the masterclass that gives you all the details of like what we do and how we do it and all of that. And then they come back and like, oh my god, I felt like watching that girl. Like literally was me, and they can see that we have all different walks of life. That is the purpose. And again, that is also why, and this is not me tooting my own horn, but that is also why I have been able to reach the level of success that I have, and why I've been able to help thousands of people to be successful, because I have that mindset and understand that we are all different. And no matter how you are, come one, come all, and I'm still going to give you all of the tools and skills that you need to be successful.
Amen. I'm pen drop. I don't even know. I don't have anything else to say because you guys obviously saw we were into this one. I think we're almost at an hour now because there's a lot to say, and this is one of the biggest lessons that you will need to learn in business. So if you guys have any questions, literally drop them in the comments wherever you're watching this or you're listening to this, because we will address them totally live on our podcast. Maybe we should do a live Q&A, like have people input questions, and we'll do on Thursday, like live
and
Q&A.
we're gonna start having guests too. We're gonna start also having guests, and we're thinking about maybe doing like a Ask Us Anything where we'll choose somebody. Maybe we did that one time where we had like three different people
coaching.
Yeah, we could do hot seat coaching. So yeah, any topics that you guys would like to hear, drop them in the comments. And also we still are doing the cash giveaway for subscribers, and we're going to do one also for reviews. Okay, so please leave us a 5-star review. Please leave something, not just like click the 5 stars, but also like leave something that like you love about this podcast or how we've helped you in some capacity. You can also, like I said, leave in the comments any topics that you would love for us to riff on as well. Again, don't forget that the Playbook to Millions link is down below. On the Daily is also down below. We just finished our It Girl series last Thursday, so we will be starting a new one this Thursday. And yeah, just super excited for all that's to come. Thank you so much to every single one of you guys who have supported us along the way, has just encouraged us, left us, words of just pure love and encouragement. And we just want to thank you guys so much, because you are the reason why we continue to show up and why we continue to do what we do, regardless of the things that happen along the way or the people that mistreat us or betray us or anything like that. We have such a big mission that nothing or no one will get in the way.
Amen. So we will see you guys